101st place. I'm way back in the standings. I zeroed on Car Lake, came back to Smith Mountain, only weighed in 1. Back's against the wall though, it really, really is. And that's kind of the way I like it.
Yes sir! Boom shakalaka baby!
Now I find myself in 101st place. Last year I only weighed in 1 fish.
Yes sir, that's 5 baby!
Another opportunity to gain some experience and become better.
Yes sir! That's a good one.
Just when you think I'm done, just when you think it's over, season's over, even really before it gets started, I have an amazing tournament this past weekend on High Rock Lake. So amazing, in fact, that I weighed in my biggest bag ever, whether it be an FLW tournament or a team tournament somewhere. Biggest bag of fish I've ever weighed in at 18 pounds, 11 ounces on High Rock this past weekend. Good enough for second place in this month's tournament in the Piedmont Division. I'm still shell-shocked. I'm still flabbergasted. I'm still speechless. I'm still thinking back to every single hook set. And I just was extremely blessed to have an amazing day on the water when I needed it the most. I don't even know where to start this video. So I guess we'll start from the very beginning with practice. I had a great practice. I went up there Wednesday, fished a couple of hours, and I got on a pattern pretty much right away. I got on a pattern Wednesday night, a worm pattern. I caught a couple, and it was great for me because it helped so much when I went up there Wednesday and caught a couple of fish. It gave me confidence right away. Thursday was a little bit slower, but I was still able to see some things and learn some new techniques and learn how to fish in deep water. I learned, exactly where I needed to be fishing, where I needed to be targeting. I spent a lot of time on the main lake. I spent a lot of time on docks Thursday as well, and I determined that main lake for me was going to be fishing a little bit better. And in order to fish the main lake, you're probably going to want to know how to fish deep, and you're probably going to want to know how to fish slow. And I figured that out really quickly. And, I just was able to put together a solid pattern. I was able to put together a pattern for plastic. I was able to put together a pattern for crankbait bite as well. I had a co-angler both days, or someone fishing with me both days, and he actually caught fish too on Friday behind me. So me being able to see that, this fish here that you see was a soft plastic fish that got wrapped up in some brush, and you had to go in there and get them. So a really great, phenomenal practice, and so much so that I was able to really nail down areas where I wanted to fish and nail down baits that I wanted to throw. And I was dialed in. I was more dialed in for this tournament than ever before. So much so that I was able to only have 3 to 4 rods on my deck for almost all day. At the very beginning, tournament morning, I might have had 5 because I had an extra rod out for top water just in case. But I was not targeting top water at all. But as you can see, this is tournament morning here, where there's a ton of fog. The lake is almost like glass. It's very slick. Nobody's running because of the fog. I'm surprised they let us blast off, and I guess they did because at the boat landing at Tamarack, there was very little fog. But as soon as you got out onto the main lake, it was, as you can see here, very low visibility. If it wasn't for GPS, I wouldn't have been able to get to my spots actually for quite a while because that fog laid around for a good long time. So luckily I was able to navigate through danger areas and through the buoys and get where I needed to go. But still, I did not pick up my first fish until about 6:45 in the morning. I stayed patient. I wanted to fish slow. That's how I was catching them in practice, fishing really slow. A buddy of mine always likes to say he likes to give his worms bed sores. And so I kept that in mind, and I was fishing very slow and staying patient because I knew the spots that I had caught fish on all week, they're going to be great chances that those fish are still going to be there. Nothing had changed. The wind was staying the same direction over the course of a couple of days, so I felt very, very confident. My first fish came again about 6:45. It's going to be right here. Nothing too, not a giant fish here. Honestly, this fish gets cold out later into the day, and but it was a very important fish because it immediately relieves the pressure. I'm thinking after this fish, okay, I'm not zeroing today. I'm going to have a fish to weigh in. I'm going to get some points. Maybe I'll be able to keep my season alive here. If this is the first video you've seen from me, I had to have a great day today. Zeroing was not an option. I'm doing everything I can to get to the regional on Norman. That is the first fish of the day, about 2 pounds fish or so. I catch my next fish almost right away. I'm in the same exact spot, a different angle here, but and a little bit different bait, but I am in the same spot, and I have a great hook set here. I pulled this fish out of a brush and boat flip him, and
Yes,
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good now. I'm like, okay, my pattern is still there. We're still on these fish. These fish have not moved. I found this spot late in the day Friday that you're looking at right here, and I'm feeling really good. And a replay of that hook set, probably the best hook set I had all week, was this one right here. I'm using a Kistler rods here, kind of a top secret rod I can't talk too much about right now. You'll see a video on that later, but an amazing rod, an amazing hook set, and this again is setting the tone for my entire day here. And with 2 fish, I'm sitting with 5 pounds and 4 ounces now, approximately. And I'm just ecstatic that my pattern is still there. I'm ecstatic that everything that I've been working for on this week is still in place. I put it in about 30 hours on this lake this week, and it had finally looked like it was going to pay off for me. Still fishing honestly the same area. It's a different angle, and I move out deeper. And I move out deeper because I couldn't get a bite there for about 30 minutes. So I was like, well, I'm still marking fish, but I'm marking them underneath of me, which means I'm fishing too shallow. So I back off, and I'm probably sitting in 18 foot of water here, and that happens.
Gonna net this time? I'm gonna get it anyway.
Yes!
Get that.
I'm really excited here.
Boom, shakalaka,
This is a
baby.
solid fish. The video doesn't do it justice.
3.
This fish was bigger than this video shows you.
Thank you, old monster. I figured I need to back off and show him a little bit something different, back off that thing.
Yeah. Got 3 critters.
And that triggers me to say, okay, fish have reached the point in the day when they've moved back out from their maybe early morning stuff, or they're maybe cruising shallow looking for food or whatever. They're back off. So that triggers me to concentrate in deeper water, and that's what I do. Believe it or not, I'm actually sitting in 24 foot of water here. You can't see it, the boat is not positioned correctly, but I am fishing some offshore stuff here. And this is an amazing fish. This fish here gave me the shivers, and you'll see that. I'm just gonna let it play out for you here, not do so much narrating, but I am throwing some soft plastic in deep water here, and I'm about to get a bite, and it's a big bite, and this reaffirms that what I'm doing is the right thing for me. Co-angler was Johnny on the spot. I told him to move to the left. He did exactly what I wanted him to do. Great guy.
Yes,
Talk about him
sir!
later.
Boom, shakalaka, baby! That's what I'm talking about. That's your brush pile fish, baby.
Yes, sir.
That fish is all over 5, 4.5, 5. It's just so important. I've got the shivers right here. Look at my left hand. So with four fish, I'm now at right around 14 pounds. And people who don't fish don't understand how important this is to us. They don't understand the preparation. So it just meant so much for me to land that fish and to be sitting where I was. After that fish, I went for about 3 hours and didn't have a bite. And I'm going to show you this entire clip, and this is very important for everybody to see. This is a short fish. I could not get a bite deep for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and I told my co-angler, hey, we got to move shallow. I got to go see if I can pluck a small one and a small keeper and finish out my limit. I do that. So I find a stretch of docks here that I really like. I marked them last year. So something that happened last year helped me to, this year. And that was so amazing to me. I didn't fish this all week, but I marked it last year in my graph. And I came back and fished it on tournament day, and it pays off here big time. But what I want you to see is I catch that fish, and I fished this spot for another solid 5 minutes here. And I cast on it, and I cast on it, and I cast on it. And I'm doing everything I can to trigger another fish to bite underneath there. Because my theory is there is a reason that 13-inch fish was underneath that pier. And if that fish is underneath that pier, there's liable to be another one. And perhaps that another one's going to be a keeper. And right now, I'm sitting with 4 fish and about 14 pounds, and I need a keeper bad. I want to fill out my limit. I've never caught a limit in a BFL tournament before. I want this, and I want it bad. So I'm playing it smart here. I'm being very, very patient. I'm working that same pier. I'm working it to the side front, I'm working it to the side, and in a second here you're going to see me go around to the back side of it. I am dissecting this pier the way a pier should be dissected. Fishing a dock or a pier is an art form, and I'm doing that here. And there was a reason that fish was underneath that dock. I don't know what the reason was. Maybe it's just positioned correctly. Maybe the wind was blowing on it just the right way. But it was a high quality percentage, and there's a chance that another fish was going to be underneath there. And I spent a solid 4 to 5 minutes here just pounding on it, putting a shaky head, which is a great bait to use around docks and piers, or any wood in general, because it's an easy meal for a bass. I'm putting it everywhere where I feel like it needs to be. Under the dock, beside the dock piling, out in front of the dock. Anything that looks different about that pier, I'm putting it there. So I'm going to let this play out, and you'll see just how dedicated I am and how patient I am with this pier here. And it does pay off for me in a big way. I can honestly tell you that dock fishing, usually there's a rhyme and a reason to a dock. But if you can get on a dock pattern, you'll find that sometimes bass will be related to the front side of the dock, or sometimes they'll be related to the back side of the dock. And if you figure that pattern out, you can literally go in a certain area of the lake and pound on docks on that specific part of the dock, and that'll be where you catch them. This was also about 12:30 in the afternoon. So at 12:30 in the afternoon, that's a good time to go fish a dock, because bass will get underneath there for shade and that kind of stuff, and to just kind of hide from the elements. It's very bright. It's a bluebird sky today. There is some clouds there in the background, but the sun is shining hard as it can right now. And I'm moving back out to the front. I pulled back out. I went to the left a little bit and just gave it a break. But then I'm getting ready to get right back in here on this dock. I actually hit the pier a couple of times out front, which, it happens, and nobody's perfect. And sometimes you'll get a backlash. Just pull that thing right out and go back in there to it. And this next skip here is going to be the one. It's always important to make sure your worm is straight. Get right up underneath there.
Go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Please hurry. Yes, sir. That's 5, baby. That's it right there. I got a shot at winning this thing today, man. I got a shot at winning this thing. I cast and cast and cast about 10 times underneath that dock after that short fish.
Yeah.
I stuck a daggone 3.5, maybe 4.
That's a good fish.
Yes, sir. How many times I cast underneath that dock after the first?
Yeah.
Probably thought I was crazy. I thought I was crazy. I skipped that sucker right in there. That's it, baby.
That's a giant fish. And that fish at 12:30 in the afternoon secured my second place victory. I did actually have one more fish here. This was at about 1:55, and in the afternoon I have a check-in time at 2:15, so we're down to the last few minutes here. My co-angler suggests a point close to the ramp, and I'm using the same pattern, and I hook up one last time, and I actually cull here. I actually boat flip this fish into the boat and make a last minute cull, which probably is going to give me an extra half a pound, at least a half a pound, if not 3/4 of a pound. This is probably a 2.5 pound fish here, and I cull out a 2 pounder. So I get an extra little bit of help here with the cull to finish out my limit of 18 pounds and 11 ounces. And at that point, at that short boat ride back to the ramp, I'm really nervous. I'm sitting there trying to count the weight in my mind. What do I got here? I'm saying to myself, I got 16 pounds. Trying to be conservative, trying not to get my hopes up. But it turned out to be 18-11. And just what a day on the water. I just, when I needed it, I needed this tournament so bad. I needed to have a day like this so bad, if nothing else, for my confidence. I said in my preview video that I had been on a bit of a roll. I had been catching some good fish. Obviously, I hadn't been catching fish on High Rock because I hadn't been there, but I have actually been catching good fish a certain way. I won some money. I won a tournament. I won a lot of money, and it kind of culminated. Everything culminated, Saturday on High Rock. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again here. I'm a better angler now than what I was a year ago. This is my second season, and I know my season started off rough, and I know there's no excuses. But I learned a lot from zeroing on Carr. I learned a lot from only catching one on Smith Mountain. And I won't lie, I got super depressed after Smith Mountain. I got, one fish in 2 tournaments was unacceptable for me. And it makes you really question yourself, should you be doing this? Should you be spending all the money? Should you be wasting all the time? And the answer to those questions is yes and yes. First of all, I'm not wasting my time. I'm doing what I love. And I've put everything else on hold, excluding kids, on hold for this. I work for a great company that works with me on having time off, and I use all of my vacation time on these tournaments. And like I said earlier, I put in about 30 hours on High Rock Lake this past week, and it paid off. It paid off big time. So if we just take a look at where we stand right now, we got some much needed points. We got total points now is 450. That's 249 more points than I had starting the day. I'm currently moved up to 62 on the in the point standing. So I was at 101. I moved up 39 spots to 62, and I did exactly what I wanted to do. I got myself back in contention to make the regional on Norman. That is the goal now. Get in that top 45. I'm 100 points out. 100 points out of the top 45. I'm going to make this up. I don't know who's in that top 45 that's going to get knocked out by me, but I'm coming. And no guarantees, but I'm going to fish my ass off to get in that top 45. And that's going to continue onto the James River on July 14th. And I got a lot to look forward to for that. I went up to James River last year. I had a decent time there at the regional. Didn't have quite the turnout that I wanted, but I got a lot of experience there. And I'm excited to go back there. I'm excited to continue this role. I'm excited to do everything I can to get back to another regional. But that's it. That's High Rock for you. I'm back home now, and I'm already thinking about the James. I got a trophy for this tournament, second place trophy. I also got a check. I could care less about this money. I could care less. I don't even want to cash the check. I might just look at it for a little while before I cash it. I could care less about winning this money. I care more about this trophy than I do about any amount of money that I could win in a tournament. It's not about that. It's about me growing as an angler. It's about me gaining as much experience as possible. And It's about just being the best I could be at this. And I think I accomplished a lot of those things this past weekend. A few people I really want to just speak about real quickly. Jermaine Brown, a co-angler. He struggled this past weekend, but he's a phenomenal angler. He helped me Friday. Without his help Friday, I don't think I would have been able to narrow down this pattern the way I did. Also want to thank Ron Russo. I stayed with Ron Russo for 3 days this past week, and we kind of shared information and worked hand in hand and gave each other advice and, what we were doing to catch fish, how we were catching them, and that helped a great deal. Ron had 13, 14 pounds, something like that. I'm sure he'll have a video out soon. He has a YouTube channel. Find him and subscribe to him, because he's a great fisherman as well. I also want to give major props to my co-angler, Sam Smith. He is a great guy. He is, oh man, there's so much I want to say about him, but I'm not going to say, too much. He is a great guy. I'm not sure if anybody watching this video is going to know who Sam Smith is, but he was a great guy to fish with, and this was, I was happy to be paired up with him on tournament day. And finally, I have one other guy I'd like to say, but I'm not going to give his name, but if he is watching this video, you know who you are, and I want to say thank you. I don't want to throw your name out here, but I had some help Thursday before tournament. I had some tips and pointers given to me, and I had somebody show me and tell me how to fish High Rock Lake and how slow to fish and where to fish and those kinds of things. And he really helped me get on a pattern. I don't want to put your name out there because I don't know if you want it out there, but I want to say thank you to you. And that's it. That's High Rock. I'm done here, and I'll see you next month. I promise. I'll see you next month.